But what's really key is what is great for teachers is the next button here in the top, the iTunes U. iTunes University is basically like the podcast section. So it's video podcasts or audio podcasts, but what makes it different is these are not about the newest gadgets or look what I did over the weekend or holiday destinations. These are all focused on education. And a lot of them are published by universities or schools around the world. So there are all kinds of podcasts that you can use in your subject, in your subject lessons. Okay? So it's the same thing as podcasts. You can either view them directly in iTunes, you can download them, sync them with your device, you can subscribe to them, so as soon as a new episode comes up, you can view it. So let's have a look at what we have here, for example.
I'm just in fine arts.
Okay, something about world music. That looks pretty interesting. So let's go in here. Wait while it loads. And again, like I said earlier, search. You can do a direct search from there, or you can do the power search, and you can look for all kinds of things. And this icon here shows you that it's a video podcast. It's not just audio, it has video in it as well. If I click on that, it's a 1 hour and 28-minute podcast. And I can start watching it right here by clicking play. It'll take a while because it's so big, or I can click on the free, download it onto my iTunes and watch it when it has finished downloading.
So you could just go on and get the kids to listen to a podcast during a lesson? Or...
Well, what you would do is when everyone has one of these,
yes.
you'd give them the podcast for homework. Their homework, 40 minutes, is to watch the lesson. This is called flipping the classroom. Instead of lecturing in the classroom, which is the most valuable time to have, you lecture at home. Basically you say, here's the lecture, here's the material that you need to prepare. So they sit there and they watch the 30-minute video on the topic. And then they come to the classroom, and then you spend the time discussing it or extending on it, whatever.
Sorry, Tommy, so you want to search just in
iTunes U.
iTunes U.
Yeah.
How do you search just in there, not into everywhere?
That's Keith's question. Power search is available in the top right-hand menu here. Now, I'm in iTunes U, here under Quick Links, Power Search. And then you say, well, only search in iTunes U, and you can search for whatever you want to search. Okay. And there's so much there. There's so much content that you could share with your students and have them watch it before class. A lot of good lecturers who are doing really good stuff. Some schools, you can also go into, say, look at K-12 schools. So just browsing it, you can say, well, I'm not interested in university and college courses. I just want to look at K-12 courses. There are schools that are already publishing. So if you look at K-12, it limits the scope of what's there, except that mine...
Can you search just a video or just to say...
Yeah, you can. So here, number of schools. For example, ECIS schools have some podcasts. Frankfurt International School, Munich International School has their own podcast. So you can go into math standard something.
How does it get onto iTunes?
The school has an agreement. They basically, if a school wants to start publishing their lectures, they can contact Apple and say, we would like to be an iTunes contributor. And they do that. So MIS in Munich have standard level math lessons. They're lessons that they're doing. It lists all the podcasts that they have made for standard level mathematics. 21 items so far. Right? Yeah. Anything specific? Sorry? Binomial theorem. There we go. This is a 3-minute video using notebook, smart notebook. And the sound is terrible.
I looked at some of the videos.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just camera attack.
Yeah.
I have to read it.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. So, it is a way to share this with your students. One, for maybe the math and science teachers know about Khan Academy already. A lot of their videos are here as well. And they actually do, well, quality is somewhat more guaranteed. Again, as before, when you go into a podcast and you want one of these, you can either view it right there by clicking the play button on a number, or you can go click on the free to download it into your iTunes and watch it when you have time. I mean, you can share these as well, but the really cool thing, once you start downloading, or right here, this big button, subscribe. I've watched 1 or 2 of these. I know this is something that I want to keep up with. Subscribe to it. And then you don't have to manage it. It'll come to your iTunes whenever they come.
You all the old copies?
I think they do, yeah. As long as they're free, you'll have all the older ones available to you as well. And that's kind of the thing that you want to start doing. You don't want to go into iTunes and manage it yourself. Go and find the video every single time. No, you want to find a couple of podcasts that are on your topic, on your subject that you're teaching, that you think are good, and subscribe to them. You don't manage them. Let iTunes do it for you. You say, I'm interested in this, so you subscribe, and then as soon as there's a new episode available, this number here changes. I've got 16 unwatched podcasts, but whenever they release a new one, that'll go up to 17 and so on. And then you can see that you have the new ones right there. This is kind of it's called the push delivery of content. You kind of say, I'm interested in X, Y, Z, and then the services tell you, well, you should read this, you should watch this. There's so much content out there that what you do is you say, this is what I'm interested in, and then software delivers it to you without you always having to go to different sources for it. Okay? So it's well worth spending some time in the iTunes U and looking at what there is for your subject, or if you're studying Mandarin yourself, what there is for language learning. It's not just as a teacher what you can use for your teaching, but also what can you use for learning. And there is also a lot of podcasts, videos on Apple applications. So if you want to learn a bit more about GarageBand, or if you want to learn a bit more about iMovie, there's a lot out there already. Okay, that's it with iTunes. Questions?
If you come across a podcast that you think is really good and you want to share it with another teacher,
Yep.
do you just email? How do you do
You
that?
can, let's go into Serving Science. There's actually, right here, you can just copy link and then email that link to you. When they click on that link, they come to iTunes and they get to it directly. And that would be, Michael was asking before we started, can you embed these into Moodle? Can you put that video in Moodle? They don't actually allow you to grab it from here. They want you to come to iTunes. So what you do is you copy the link, and then you'd put that in a Moodle page, and then kids would follow that. And it
When they
would.
follow that link, when they view it, they'll log in.
No, they can view it without. All of this, anything that's free, you don't have to log in. Anything that's free, you don't, and not restricted by region. So if you're in the US store and you want to link to a TV show, and they couldn't get to it and couldn't watch it if it's paid and restricted by region. And the link itself is iTunes. So the link that I copied looks like this. So it's iTunes instead of www. Computer knows when you click on this it needs to fire up iTunes. It's in the Hong Kong store under iTunes U. Now you can go and look, like even if your account is in Hong Kong, you can go and look in the Australian store, you can go and look in the US store, you can have a look, but you can't download things from there unless they're free. So that's how it's limited. So you can only buy where you have your account in.
But you can download something if it's free.
If it's
Free, like the iTunes, everything that's in there is available everywhere because it's made available free to everyone. So even if your account is in Hong Kong and that's published by MIT, you can still get it.
It's just Shazam is free. If it's every time I think it says
Okay.
it's not allowed.
Okay. So you've right. Apps, I think, is a different story. For podcasts, iTunes, those you can view anywhere. But if it's apps, books, music, movies, I think it's just apps, music, and movies. You have to do through your region. Yeah.